Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fun with Numbers. Today, we're going to go over how to create an amortization table within Excel. The benefit of this is that, unlike an amortization tool that you can get online, this is going to allow you to play around a little bit with the numbers. So, as you can see, I've already kind of set up kind of a rough template that we're going to be working with. And now we're just going to go ahead and put in some of the equations in numbers. Okay, so first of all, we're going to go ahead and put the original loan amount at $150,000. We're going to assume a 30-year loan, 12 payments a year, and we're just going to throw in an interest rate of 5.3%. Now I know that may be high or low depending on when you're watching this video. Uh, but we're going to start out with that. Okay. Now, to determine our monthly payment amount, we're going to use the payment function. All right. So first, we're going to need the rate. The rate is right here. However, this is the annual rate. So we're going to need to divide this by 12 to get the correct monthly payment amount. Next, it's going to be the number of payments. So it's going to be the years multiplied by the months because there's going to be 360 total payments. And next we need the present value. So this is going to be the original loan amount right here. We'll close this up. And so for this particular loan, it's going to be an $832.96 payment. Now for interest, we're going to look up the interest payment function. Okay. And again, we're going to look up the rate divided by months. 360. Oops. Got ahead of myself. So this per right here, this is basically telling me what installment do we want. So we want this installment, A7. All right, and then we're going to take the total number of payments. All right. And then the present value again. Okay. Okay. So there's our interest. There's the monthly payment. And then the principal. Now we do have a function here that's going to determine the principal, and it's going to be very similar to the interest. However, we're not going to use that, and the reason for that is because it's not going to allow because it's going to show what the principal is supposed to be at each particular payment point. It's not going to allow us to uh, play with this and add extra payments in any particular time period. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is we're just going to say that this is going to be this monthly payment subtracted from this interest, and there's our principal. Okay, now if you don't like how this monthly payment is looking, you can throw in this little negative sign at the front. You just need to be careful though. It's going to change this computation here. All right, so now as a principal, then there's your interest. All right, I'm going to go back to what I originally had it at though. Okay, now the remaining balance is going to be the original amount. Actually, we're going to add with subtracting the principal from it. All right, and there we go. All right, and then we can start pulling these down. All right, so we have an error here. Okay, so we got to go back here. We got to fix our calculation. So what we can do, we put a dollar sign in between the letter and the number here, and this is going to allow us to pull down this formula across multiple rows. Okay, we're going to want to do that here with the payment as well. All right. Bear with me. All right, there we go. And then this one is also going to need to be a little bit different because our new balance is right here. And then we're going to want to add whatever this is going to be. Now this one is going to be fine because it's going to change as we go down, as we're going to subtract the monthly payment from whatever the interest is for that particular week. Okay, so now we're ready to try this again. Oh, hang on, I want to grab these two, pull those down. All right, and then we can pull these three. And I already have some of this filled out down here. There we go. Hang on. For whatever reason, it doesn't want to fill that blank in. There we go. There we go. All right. Now, the problem that we still have is that if we do want to put an extra payment here, we got to put it as a negative, right? So if we want to make an extra payment of $67.04 so that we're paying $900 a month, we can pull this down. And what you notice is that the interest rate isn't changing, even though the remaining balance is, and that really shouldn't be happening with this calculation. So we're actually going to go ahead and change this interest calculation as well. And while we're doing this, we're going to have a better conceptualization of how this is actually totaled. All right. First of all, let me calculate our total interest throughout the life of this. We're going to do the cumulative interest payment function, right? We're going to take the rate. Again, we're going to divide it by 12. Number of payments will be 360 total. All right, present value. Now it's asking for our start period. Our start period is going to be 1. Our end period is going to be, again, our year times payments a year, 360 payments. All right, and the type, it's an end of period is most what this is going to be. And then we probably want to put a little negative on here just so there we go, it's a little easier to read. So we have $149,000 of total interest that we're paying throughout the life of this loan for 30 years. And that's quite a bit, 5.3% interest. But what you have to understand is that 5.3 is the annual rate that's being applied against your remaining balance. Okay, so here we can kind of get a better conceptualization of it. All right, so we're going to take this original amount and we're going to multiply it by this interest rate divided by 12 because this is what we want the interest rate for this particular month. And notice it doesn't really change it, although we want the number to be negative, not positive. All right, and then the next one we can kind of pull this down. We just have to change where we're getting this initial number from. Oops. I also want to fix these cells a little bit, make sure that we're not changing that too much. All right, 12 cents. All right. Okay. So now we can pull this down. And what we're going to see here, these numbers are going to change because we've already got this changed over here, this 900, and that changes how much interest is coming off. And we can see, we can't see that it's actually going to change the total interest, but if we were to pull this down now all the way, what we do see is that now our last payment is going to be 303 versus 360. So we're almost taking off not quite 5 years off of our loan. Okay. So there's another way that we can tabulate the total interest that we are going to be paid. You can just do a quick sum of, your interest from here to, I can't remember what it's 310, I think. and there's our total interest. So then you can find, you know, paying that extra $67 a month is going to save us $27,000 of interest. All right, so that's kind of cool. So again, we can put this calculation into this payment function here. That's really the only reason it's there. Now we can also calculate how much interest we've paid over time here, right? So all we have to do, well, this first period is pretty easy, right? And then the total is just going to be putting those total together. So now the total in that first week should look pretty consistent, just mirrored. But then the next one should be a little bit different. All right. And then this one can just pull down. There we go. And we can pull this down. I'm just going to pull this down to the first 12 payments. This is just, if you want this, it can be interesting to note, like, okay, this first year you're paying a full cumulative value of just shy of $7,900 of interest, $2,700 of principal, and total $10,000. Okay. Now, the last piece that I want to add to this is that we can also use this tool to understand what kind of budget do we want. So, 150,000. Okay, this we're payment 832. Let's say $900 was our budget. Okay, now we want to know what is the total value of the, like, what mortgage value could we have actually afforded. Okay, so doing this, we're going to use the present value function. We're going to take the rate, and again, got to divide it by 12 because that's how many times it's going to be accumulated throughout the year, right? Numbers per, so that's going to be number of payments. Okay, so that's 360. And then we want our payment. So there's our payment right here. Okay. Now we close that out. Now we have a negative number. Now we can either put a negative up here, or we could make this monthly budget number negative so that we can have a positive number and it looks a little bit cleaner to us. All right, so now we know that with a $900 budget, we can afford $162,000. Okay, now this template works really well. Like, you can adjust different things. You can see, okay, well, what happens if I pay, an extra $1,000 back toward this, and you can kind of see how the numbers are going to change. Okay, you can also look at this. Okay, I can afford $162,000. What if the interest rate was going to jump a percent over the next month before I can actually get to it? Well, that changes your total purchase value from 162,000 to 145,000. So you can see kind of how the interest rates can affect what you can afford. In addition to this, even though I have years, we can kind of look at this and say, okay, well, how much do I need to pay if I want to get this paid off in 20 years instead of 30? Well, now your payment needs to be up to $1,100 a month. Okay. If you want to know, and then also, you don't have to use it just for a home mortgage. You could also use this for vehicles. Okay, so you put 7-year, like you put a $30,000 vehicle. Okay, well, now you're paying $442 a month. Maybe you get a better interest rate than this. I don't know. So 414. Okay, so you can play around with this quite a bit. Anyway, this is kind of the template to kind of get this started, to get this built up. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Hopefully this is a tool that you can build for yourself and utilize. If you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe below, and hope you have a great day.